And if this awakening at 3 a.m. is not insomnia or chance, but a direct call from God, there are times when the sky wants to talk, but only the silence of the dawn allows you to hear. In this video, you will understand why God wakes up when everyone sleeps, and what He wants to reveal in this secret encounter with your soul. There are times when God speaks softly, where He chooses not to use the noise of the world, nor the noise of the routine, but the absolute silence of dawn. And that's right. Right now, when the clock marks 3 in the morning, when everything is quiet, when no one else sees, listens, or waiting, that it awakens you, not by chance, not by insomnia, but for purpose. It is as if heaven himself blows his name in the middle of darkness, calling you to something that has not yet been revealed, but is already in motion. Many ignore this time. They think waking up at this moment is just the result of a busy mind, a tired body, any chance. But whoever walks with God learns to realize that nothing is just by chance when it comes to Him. Waking up at 3 a.m. can be a divine call, an invitation to approach, to get out of the surface and enter the deep waters of intimacy with the Father. Because there are things that He only reveals in silence. There are answers that only hear when everything around us falls asleep. This is when the heavens are open to the attentive spirit, where God's presence is felt more clearly, where the heart, free from distractions, becomes fertile earth to the voice of Him echo. It is as if God said, "Now that nothing else is competing with my voice, I can tell you what during the day you would not have time or sensitivity to hear." And you feel that awakening is different, that there is a weight of eternity hanging over this moment. In the Old Testament, we see God calling Samuel at dawn, a young man who slept in the temple but who did not personally know the voice of the Lord yet. And yet, it was awakened, repeatedly. Until oriented by Eli, he replied, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." 1 Samuel 3:10. Perhaps today you are living this same kind of call. God woke up to you because you want to talk. And the question is, are you willing to listen? Waking up at 3 a.m., so it's not just a nuisance, it is a privilege. It is a sign that the sky invites you to a private conversation, and you don't have to understand everything. You just need to get up with faith, stand before Him with humility, recognize that even without knowing why, you feel that something is happening. And it is, because the God who awakens you at dawn is the same one who is preparing something deep within you. This is the beginning of a different journey, a journey of communion, listening, delivery. And it all starts with a simple decision: respond to the call. Because in the end, God is not just trying to wake you up from physical sleep. He wants to arouse something inside you, something that was asleep, something He wants to activate. And the time is now. There is a mysterious beauty at dawn. While the world rests, while cars are silent, while notifications cease and lights go out, something in the sky remains in motion. It is in this space between the silence of the earth and the whisper of the divine that God speaks more clearly. Not because He doesn't talk during the day, but because at this time we can finally hear. When everything is silent on the outside, the soul gains room to listen inside. When the world sleeps, distractions lose strength. The mind slows down. The body is not running, answering, solving. And suddenly, what seemed distant approaching, the presence of God. Not noisy, but subtle. Like a wind that enters the cracks. As a thought that becomes prayer. As a presence that silences to fear. And then we understand we are not alone. Someone woke us up with purpose. And it's there. It was so with so many over the scriptures. Jacob, upon waking a dream at night, said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I didn't know." Genesis 28:16. How many times is this true for us? The presence was already there. The voice already whispered. But the rhythm of the world prevented us from realizing it, until God, in His patience, calls us at dawn. So let us see, for us to feel, so that we come back. And there is something even more precious. This is a time when few are looking for. It is a time of rare intimacy, of spiritual exclusivity, in depth. God does not awaken all at 3 in the morning. But when he awakens you, it is because he wants something else. Not only do you talk, but listen to you. Not only do you ask you, but know you. Because there are things that the Father only reveals to those who stop everything to be with him, even when it means interrupting their own sleep. At that moment, your room becomes a sanctuary. Your room becomes an altar. Your breath becomes prayer. The place where you are becomes a holy soil. And not because there was music, light, or crowd, but because heaven decided to visit his space at the time the world was sleeping. And in this place God speaks, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence, but always with presence. And if you have been awake today, it's not punishment. It is an invitation. God calls you to get out of the ordinary, to hear what others didn't hear, to receive what is only released in intimacy. Because when the world sleeps, heaven speaks, but only hear who decides to raise, only receives who is disposed. Understand only who chooses to be awake with the heart attentive. And it is there, between the darkness of the night and the light of heaven, that the encounters that change everything are born. During the day, everything is movement. People talk, tasks accumulate, deadlines squeeze, screens flash. Our attention is divided into 1,000 directions, and even when we try to focus on God, it is as if the noise of the world would not allow it. There is always something to solve, answer, run after. And in this whirlwind, deep things are being pushed to the corners of the soul. Non-processed pain, unanswered questions, muffled fears, forgotten dreams. But when the dawn arrives and everything stops, these layers come to light. Silence not only calms down, he reveals. And that can be uncomfortable, because it is at this moment when we are alone with our thoughts that God shows us what we avoid seeing, what the rapid pace has hid, but which the Holy Spirit wants to heal. He pulls gently the hidden pains, the questions not asked, the desires not confessed, do not to expose us, but to transform us. Maybe you wake up at 3 a.m. and notice a tightness on your chest, a restlessness that does not know how to explain, a tear unnamed. It is God bringing to the surface what needs to be treated. It is the Spirit probing you inside and saying, "Now that everything is quiet, let me show you what you have carried." And he doesn't do that to condemn you. On the contrary, it is the beginning of a cure that can only happen in the heart. The psalmist says, "At night I examine my heart." Psalm 77:6. There are things that we can only see in the light of silence. Sometimes God takes us out of sleep, does not to punish us with tiredness, but to give us clarity. Because when everything is dark outside, it begins to illuminate inside, and that light exposes. But it also warms, reveals, but it also comforts. God is more interested within us than in our external performance. And at dawn, he finds us where we are most real. It is in this environment of silence that he invites us to open the closed chests of the soul, talking about what we avoid, to deliver what we keep out of fear. And there he plays, he, Sarah, he teaches. The dawn becomes a mirror, and his presence a balm. You begin to see your own pains with the eyes of grace, and what seemed an unbearable burden begins to become testimony. Prayer at 3 a.m. is not about repeating words. It is about letting God reveal you what the day hid. And in the process, you not only see, you change. You understand. You mature. For the night in silence with God is worth more than 1,000 days of excitement without him. And this is how he begins to transform your life, illuminating the soul the moment the world is not looking. There is something special, almost supernatural, to get up at dawn to pray. It is more than discipline. It is more than faith. It is an answer to a spiritual move that happens as the world sleeps. The Bible repeatedly shows men and women who rose at dawn to seek God and found more than answers. They found revelation, deliverance, direction, renewal. The dawn, when consecrated to the Lord, becomes a fertile field for deep encounters with the sky. Jesus is the greatest example. Mark 1:35 tells us, "At dawn, when it was still dark, Jesus got up, left home, and went to a deserted place where he was praying." The Son of God himself, in his humanity, sought the Father as the world slept. He knew that in that moment of silence, far from the applause, the crowds, the demands, the sky was accessible. It was there that he received strength, direction, wisdom. If Jesus prayed at dawn, what makes us think we can live a life full of presence without following this way? Dawn prayer is not just symbolic. It carries a real spiritual power. It is a time when the spirit world is more sensitive, where daily barriers are low, where the distractions were silenced. It is as if the sky said, "Now is the moment. Anyone who wants to find me will find me." And those who answer this call access dimensions that are not in a hurry. They not only pray, they cross, play the invisible. They connect to the heart of God. This is why so many witness revelations received during this period. Prophetic dreams, words of knowledge, unexpected directions, inner healing, emotional liberation. It is as if dawn opened a spiritual window that closes during the day. And when you get up at this time to pray, you are saying with your life, "Lord, you are more important than my rest. I am here awake, not by religiosity, but by hunger." And God responds to this hunger. He does not ignore the heart that seeks him in darkness. He manifests himself, sometimes in tears that go down without explanation, others in peace that fills the room, in even others, in silence, loaded with presence, but always in communion, always in depth. Because dawn prayer is not about feeling something, it's about being with someone. It is about staying where few stay, but where God reveals himself as few know. This is the invitation that dawn makes. Get up, awe, and cross the veil, not to ask, but to be, to listen, to align. Because dawn can be tiring to the body, but it is glorious to the spirit. And whoever consecrates it to God soon understands that there are portals that only open to those who pray when everyone sleeps. There are heavens that only rip themselves to those who bend in secret. And there is a reserved anointing for those who, in the middle of darkness, choose to seek the light. God does not awaken someone at dawn by chance. When it calls you at this time, it is because there is something specific that needs to be said, something that cannot be ignored, something that can only be understood in stillness. He knows his soul like no one else. You know what you are facing, what you don't say to anyone, what even hides yourself. And that's why, while everyone sleeps, he comes. It comes to talk to you in a unique, personal, straightforward way. The dawn is the time of the whisper, and God whispers because it is close. He doesn't have to scream to be heard. He just needs to be willing to listen. And what does he want to reveal you? Often it is direction, a step you don't know if you should take, a decision that needs peace, a path that looks hazy. It can bring clarity where everything seems confusing. Other times, it is comfort, a pain that has been there for a long time, an unresolved loss, an anguish that visits you at night and shuts you up. But there are also nights when he comes to reveal what needs to be transformed, a hidden sin, a hardened posture, a root of bitterness that still lives in the heart. And instead of judgment, he brings light, not a light that exposes to embarrass, but a light that heals. That warms up, that liberates, because God does not awaken you to accuse. He awakens to restore, to treat the soul as only the Father knows how to do it. Perhaps he wants to remind you of something you have forgotten, an old promise, a word you doubt, a call you have abandoned out of fear or tiredness. God speaks of great things in the early hours, because he knows that at this time his spirit is more attentive. And when he reveals, he also prepares. He doesn't show you anything just to inform you, but to drive you. Sometimes he doesn't speak with words, speaks with presence. You see yourself awake, kneels, and say nothing, and still feels everything. Feels it is not alone, that there is a greater love than pain, that there is a greater grace than guilt, that there is a greater purpose than tiredness. And then you understand, God is here, with me, now. And he wants more than giving me something. He wants to transform me. When everyone sleeps, God reveals what in the noise of the day would go unnoticed. He chooses this time to separate you, to call you separately, to prepare you for things you can't imagine yet. And if you are being awakened by him, no theme, receive, because what he wants to reveal you at dawn may be the beginning of a new season, a healing station of intimacy, of restart, a season that is born only when the soul says, "Speak, Lord, your servant hears." God awakened you. He called you silent. He made his heart squeeze, his eyes open, the spirit shake. Now, what to do with it? How to respond to this divine call that interrupts sleep, which invades the dawn with purpose? The answer is not in grandiose gestures, but in sincere postures. Because what God seeks is not a spectacle, it is surrender. It is not perfection, it is presence. He wants you to be there with a whole heart, willing to listen, to surrender, to trust. The first way of responding is with availability. Get up even without understanding, even without will, even with sleep. Because obedience is worth more than understanding. Sometimes God just wants to see if you are willing to get out of convenience to be with him. And it's in this simple act, getting out of bed, kneeling, opening your lips, or just the heart, that the sky begins to move. Availability is to say, "Sir, I'm here. I don't know what to do, but I know I need you." The second answer is intimacy. Dawn prayer doesn't need beautiful words. It really needs, talk like one who talks to the Father, with respect but also with proximity. Talk about your pains, your questions, your fears, what makes no sense. God is not impressed by performance. It moves by vulnerability. It is when you stop trying to look strong and simply pour it, that it acts more depth. Then comes the listening. Silence is also prayer. There are dawn when you speak little, and God speaks a lot. Others you just cry, and he welcomes you. Still others, all that happens is an inexplicable feeling of peace. Respect the way God chooses to manifest himself. Do not require immediate answers. Just be present. Stay there. Say with your heart, "Speak, Lord. I don't want to drive you. I want to follow you. I don't want to use you. I want to obey you." It is also essential to have gratitude, even before any answer, even without understanding the reason for the call. Thank you for being alive, for being remembered by the sky, for being separated for this moment. Gratitude opens the heart to realize what often goes unnoticed. It prepares the soul's soil to receive the seed of the Spirit. And finally, deliver. Say, "Lord, your will be done." Not with fear, but with faith. Because God's will may seem mysterious, but it will always be better than any plan of ours. The dawn is where you stop fighting God and begin to walk with him. This is where personal plans are placed on the altar, and eternal plans begin to reveal themselves. This is the answer that changes everything. Getting up, kneeling, shutting up, listening, thanking, delivering, because God has not woke up to you so that you will go back to sleep the same. He woke up to you to transform you, and every transformation begins with a heart that says, "Here I am." Lord, in this deep silence at dawn, when everything around me rests, my heart awakens to you. I know I didn't wake up by chance. It was not chance that took me from sleep. It was your call. And now, in the face of your presence, with your eyes still tired but with your soul awake, I say, "Speak, Lord. Your servant hears." I don't come with many words. I come with truth, thirsty, with an open heart and empty hands, waiting for the Lord to fill me. Maybe I don't understand the reason for this awakening. Maybe I don't even know how to pray right now, but I know you are here, and that is enough. Your presence is already an answer. It is already a consolation. It is already direction. If there is anything you want to show me, it shows. If there is something that needs to be broken inside me, it breaks. If there is anything that needs to be healed, healing. If there is anything that needs to be revealed, it reveals. I don't just want to live another day. I want to live under your will. And if it is at dawn you chose to talk to me, then here I am. Thank you for calling me, for not forgetting, for not leaving me delivered to my own way. Thank you for this secret moment, when the sky leans to hearing my voice, and your presence surrounds me like a cloak. I recognize that I need you more than answers, more than solution. I need your look at me, of your voice inside me, your Spirit guiding me. Lord, I give you all that I am now. My fears, my dreams, my doubts, my sins. It fades me with me so that you can fill me. I want to get out of this different prayer from how I entered, with more peace, with more faith, with more intimacy with you, that this dawn does not pass in vain. May she mark my spirit. May it be a watershed. Stay with me, sir. Keep talking, continues to shape. Because even if sleep comes back, I don't want to fall asleep spiritually. I want to walk with you at every step of the day that will be born. And when the fights come, I remember this moment. Remember your presence here now. May everything in me say, the Lord is with me and it's enough. In the name of Jesus I pray and listen and I trust. Amen. The prayer was made. The heart poured itself. The words were said, or perhaps silenced. The presence of God was felt or just believed. And now, what to do after dawn is over, after the sky spoke in the secret, after the Spirit was touched while the world still slept? The answer is not in a ritual. It is in a posture. What you do after prayer is what reveals if God really occupied that space, or if it was just an isolated moment. The first thing to do is to keep in the heart what was lived. The presence that visited you at dawn should not get stuck there. She needs to walk with you, therefore do not allow the birth of the day to erase what the Spirit has recorded in the soul. Remember words, feelings, peace. Meditate on what God has shown you, even if you still don't understand everything. Because the fruit of dawn appears throughout the day, in the details, in attitudes, in the way you react to what once unbalanced you. After prayer comes practical obedience. If God brought you a direction, follow. If He called you to regret, change. If He comforted you, trust. The dawn is not an end in itself, it is a beginning. It is the moment when He plants, and the rest of the day or life is the field where the seed needs to grow. God does not wake you up to entertain you spiritually. He wakes up to align you with the sky, so that your walk reflects what was received in secret. It is also important to keep the Spirit sensitive. What begins in prayer needs to continue in communion. Stay listening, stay tuned. A song can reinforce what has been said. A conversation can confirm what was shown. A verse can illuminate what still looked dark. When you pray at dawn, it is as if it activates a spiritual frequency that needs to be maintained with reverence, sensitivity, and perseverance. And finally, go back to this place whenever the Spirit calls. Not every dawn will be the same. Not every awakening will have answers. But each one carries an invitation. Come, I have more. And the more you respond, the deeper the relationship becomes. The soul strengthens itself. The mind had been hampered. Faith matures. And then you understand that the 3 a.m. prayer is not about a magical time. It is about a royal God who loves you so much that decides to find you when everyone is sleeping. What to do after prayer? Live with the heart surrendered, walk with your eyes turned to the sky, and carry within you the certainty that at dawn something eternal was deposited in you, because those who are touched by God while the world sleeps never live again the same way. When God awakens you at dawn, it's not just to pray, it's to transform. It is a call to intimacy, listening, surrender. If He woke up to you at 3 a.m., it is because trust that you will answer. And when you respond, the sky moves, the soul aligns, and the heart finds rest. If this word spoke to you, write in the comments, "Speak, Lord, your servant hear." And if you know someone who has also been awakened by God, send this video in response. Short, subscribe to the channel and continue with us because God still has a lot to reveal you.